And we have even more Gypsy Rose drama. So, apparently, Ken's sister, Autumn, received some text messages claiming to be from Gypsy, but it's a different number. But she says they really could be from Gypsy because they're referencing Dee Dee, and they spell Dee Dee the same way. And there's a picture of Aurora in these text messages, and she says she can't imagine who else would have had her niece's picture, right? So these text messages, just a general summary of them. Gypsy is telling her that she's never going to get to see Ken or Aurora, and this isn't the first family member that she's going to have to cut contact with, and blah, 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 blah. And she goes on, basically, this whole thing starts with, she says, Dee Dee was a horrible person. And she goes on talking about hitting, punching, and there was also psychological abuse that she suffered at the hands of Dee Dee, so she claims. And she claims that Dee Dee was always crazy. She even goes on to tell in these text messages some story about Dee Dee had pulled a pew-pew on Gypsy's aunt on her father's side. Or Dee Dee's aunt, somebody's aunt. But supposedly, and this aunt was a minor at the time. Now this is the first we're ever hearing of this. Dee Dee pulling a pew-pew on somebody. I tend to believe that this is just if this came from Gypsy, I believe it's just something she made up. Because she's getting a lot of backlash right now because of the We Need to Talk podcast. People are upset because of all the lies she told in that podcast. It was lies upon lies upon lies, and people are calling her out on this. Now, also in this, in these text messages, right, here's a few things that really blew me away. I believe this headboard video, there really is one. I 100% believe this. Because in this text message, it says, they say, this person, supposedly Gypsy, we don't know 100% if Gypsy, even Autumn doesn't know that this is 100% Gypsy sending these, but we're just going to say Gypsy, sends a text and says that she appreciated that there was no more posts about the headboard video, but that she's still talking. No more posts about the headboard video. Not you making up stuff about a headboard video. She doesn't say nothing like that. If it wasn't true, wouldn't she say, I'm so glad to see you're not lying anymore about this headboard video? But no, she says in the message, I was glad to see you were not making any more posts about the headboard video. That's what leads me to believe that there is really a headboard video, her carving up this headboard. I believe it. And we've also had Ryan make kind of mention of it. So, I don't know. And we got Ryan now, who I think is pretty hurt and upset over the whole podcast, because she thought of him as a brother and a cuddle buddy and this and that. And then, she actually says that the D wasn't fired, which we all knew that anyway. So I don't know why Ryan would be upset about that. But whatever. Also, also in these texts, it talks about people are mad at her because Nicholas is in prison for life, but that's where he should be because he is a sick and evil man. How is Nicholas? Yeah, he was wrong for what he did, 100%. But how is he the sick and evil one? He's not the one that came up with the whole plan. I don't even believe any of this would have ever crossed his mind had it not been put into his mind by Gypsy Rose. But he's the one that's wrong, according to her. And then, this was the worst part of these text messages, the absolute worst, sickest thing she could have ever said. She says, now she's not saying Dee Dee deserved to be murdered, but she probably would not have Ken and Aurora if it weren't for Dee Dee's passing. She says if she would have never got rid of Dee Dee, she would never have Ken or Aurora. How can you even say such a thing? Because she 100%, well, I mean, she wouldn't have went to prison and wouldn't have met him if that's the way she's looking at it. But no, I believe she's looking at it the way of, you know, Dee Dee was never going to allow her to have a boyfriend, this, that, and the third. But here's what I cannot ever grasp, no matter how much I look into this crime. She was 20-something years old. What, 23, 24 years old? She could have walked out the door. There was no power of attorney. She wasn't Gypsy's payee on her disability, none of that. She could have walked out that door. There would have been nothing Dee Dee could have done to make her go home. And that's where I stand on this. And it also made mention in these text messages of, you know, a lot of people supported her until she came out and started making mistakes, as she says. And she doesn't know what mistakes she's really made, except leaving her fat and ugly husband to get with the man she really wanted. Come on now. Oh, and getting knocked up. She doesn't see. No, I actually was on Team Gypsy when she came out. I was, because I believed, like everybody else believed, this poor girl, she suffered, went through this, went through all these horrible things. But then once you dig into the medical records and all these FOIAs, it was all a fabricated story. But anyways, have you seen these text messages? What do you think about them? Let me know your thoughts.